So, settle down. This week, we're going to talk about hosting. So, not as much actual HTML coding is getting done. I want to take your project number twos and put them onto the actual internet so that you can share them around with your families, with your friends, so you can see what the process is like to put your site on the internet. You don't have to do project number two. That's just the one I'm going to be referencing, since I know most of us have put a lot of work, everybody's put a lot of work into it. And this might be the last little thing you need to do to get it finished so that it gets out on the internet and you can see the complete product. So, your objective today is to understand how a server works, generally speaking, and then by the end of this week, you'll be able to host your project number two wikis with a site called Vercel. You may have used Vercel before. It is a hosting / trafficking platform that allows your sites to actually be accessible at a Google search instead of running the code locally just on our computers, okay? So before I get into the PowerPoint for today, I want to talk about Wednesday's Flex. So Wednesday's Flex is new for me as a teacher. I haven't seen them run an event like this before, but it's called these industry panels down in the career, or at least some of them are in the College and Career Center downstairs. And this is an email from Miss Jameson, one of the people who works full-time down in the College and Career Center. So when you sign up for Wednesday Flex, you want to sign up for a specific industry panel session that's happening during Flex. You auto-assign on Tuesday, so if you really want to go to a specific one, you should pick today, and I can help you pick once I show you what type of bios are available, okay? Spots are limited, so be sure to fill or choose your preferred partner or your preferred person before it fills up. If it does, there are others, and every panelist that are being here on Wednesday will be useful. So attend the one that sounds the best to you. So how do you actually find out who's going to be speaking? That is going to be this Wednesday 325 Flex Bios right here, resource number 1. So if you click on this, it's a little bit of a longer document, but you can see how the Wednesday Flex is going to work out, okay? These are the different locations. You see there are 8 of them. A couple different gyms, actually all the gyms. The Rounder, right by the theater, both Rounders, the library, and then the Lower Commons. And these are how many students can attend each of the sessions, okay? Here are the sessions that are available in those different locations. And then as you scroll down further, oh, there's even more. There's 15, so there's a ton of options here. These are all block classrooms, and then the final one is down in the College and Career Center. So that's the first step, is finding out where you're going to go for your Wednesday Flex. If you scroll past the different offerings, you're going to see these bios, like perhaps if you had Mr. DeBeck. I don't know if any of y'all would have. He used to teach here for a pretty long time, and he's going to be speaking around business, etc., and how he got there. So anyways, if you're curious about who's saying what and why, you're going to see all of these different bios for the different speakers at Wednesday's Flex, okay? So if you're interested in aviation, the Titan Gym is going to host Jared Wood. I think it's Lena Reeves and Colonel Peggy Phillips. And then here's some information about each of those. I'm showing you all this because I want to make sure that you actually get into the Flex session that you want when you see that. Let me see, does this not work? Okay, I'll figure that out later. Get into the Flex sessions that you want. You can see that all those bios are available here in resources. Okay, so that's the first thing that I want to show you. So you can pick a Flex presenter on Wednesday that sounds interesting to you. Now I'm going to quickly go through our PowerPoint today, because today I'm just setting this week up for what we're going to do during our block sessions. All right. So the weekly theme is hosting. That's putting pages out on the internet, understanding traffic data. So how many viewers or how many visitors are coming and going, where they came from, how long they stayed, right? All stuff that you can use as a piece of data for your business, for your specific site improvements, whatever. Understanding how that traffic data works and further customizing your sites outside of just coding the HTML with specific domains, okay? And we'll talk about that all this week. All I need you to do today is hear me set up your week, complete your entry and exit tasks, and then there's study hall with any time that's left. But for now, since I'm showing you this part, Don't study hall yet. Your outcomes are to understand how servers and hosting works, and we'll have a little bit more teaching. This is to get you ready for block period teaching so you can understand how all the pieces work together. Your objectives this week are different types of brainstorming and then an intro to Vercel. So some questions here on the objectives slide number 6, is getting you thinking about how hosting is an important part of the web design creation process. Will, you have a question?
Yeah, Vercel's blocked.
Is it blocked for everybody?
Oh.
Okay. Vercel is blocked. Okay. So I will figure that out on the block day. Vercel is what we used to use, and it used to work fine, but I guess it doesn't work anymore. Okay, so we'll figure that out later. Okay, we'll troubleshoot Vercel. I will troubleshoot Vercel a little bit later. Okay, for now, we can host with other platforms, and these questions generally remain the same. Okay, your brainstorming questions are going to be found here, thinking about why hosting is important and what you want to be considering when you host your future websites. And then later this week, we'll intro to, instead of Vercel, imagine that says hosting, talk about what it is, what it does, and how we will use it. Okay. Different methods this week are going to be reviewing my recordings and making sure you play around with the resources that I have provided. You know you're getting it by knowing that we are using Vercel. Well, we're going to host some kind of way because Vercel's being difficult, it sounds like. You'll also understand the role of a server in web design, and we'll also understand the importance of an effective domain. And you'll be able to answer the question, what makes a domain effective, by the end of the week. This one's broad. Today I'm just talking about the entire week through Friday because I need more time than 50 minutes to get everybody ready to host stuff. Okay? Why are we doing this? Because getting your message out, getting your actual web page hosted, is core to the web design process. We can write as many pages, we can create as much HTML as we'd like, but if no one sees it, then we don't get to actually communicate any of our message, okay? Necessary to actually creating art, right, is people to see it, people to understand it, people to interact with it, because otherwise you're making art for yourself, which is good, but we want to make art for as many people as possible. The web is a communication medium. If you have a message to share, you can use the web to do it by writing a page, putting it on the internet through hosting, and letting people find your different message, right? There's also connection opportunities. You finding other folks that are into the same things that you are, or members of the same community as you, whether that is a personal identity, a professional identity, like a school type identity. You can connect with others that you might not have previously connected with because of hosting. And then there's also a community angle around why hosting web pages is important, and kind of the modern version of it's the most accessible way to get information now. It used to be newspapers or magazines or print publishing, but now a lot more people are on the internet than they are reading print media. All right, so understanding how to access a community and orienting with that community is really important to what we're doing this week. Okay, so I'm going to quickly show you what Vercel is supposed to look like, the role that it serves, and if it's blocked for everybody, I will figure that out in a second, okay? So Vercel is a way to put your websites on a server. This is why I've been really, really picky about how your web folders are customized, because there's a specific way that the computer needs to read it in order to understand it. And Vercel does a lot of that work for you, so you don't have to do some pretty advanced troubleshooting that comes with getting your site on the internet, okay? So you'll make a Vercel account a little bit later. Once you go to the Start Deploying menu, we also got to talk about GitHub. I forgot about that. You take your data, the code that you've written, and you have to store it somewhere. That becomes our server, right? Because it serves, just like in a restaurant, when you ask for something, it brings it to you. The internet is formatted in a very, very similar way. So a server is just a computer somewhere else. If you think about the word like Minecraft server, Discord server, stuff of that nature, means a computer elsewhere that you make a request for, kind of like ordering food, and the server will bring you that information. Okay? It's called a request and receive process. What we're going to do here is use Vercel's servers to store our data so that when future visitors of our site make that pull request or make that regular request, it's able to access the data and put the website that you've written up on the internet like the websites we've been using all of our lives, right? And we're going to talk about all these other fun buzzwords and URLs and repositories and GitHub and all this other stuff later this week. But for now, Vercel's job is to do something called deploying. Just like you would deploy, I'm thinking of an example here. Anyways, trying to think of an example. It's not coming to me. That's okay. Talk about it more this week. You take your code that you've written, you deploy it onto a server so that it becomes accessible, and then it attaches to a domain name like Canvas or YouTube or Discord or whatever, and allows other people to access it. Okay, that's the gist of the server relationship that we're going to be working with here once it gets working. And then I'll show you all these steps a little bit later. So we will not do this today because we're not ready for it today. What I want you to practice as I show you these different things about hosting as we get your pages up on the internet is to be considerate of how much data is stored and where. Okay? Given the way that the modern world functions, data has become a little bit of a currency in its own way. And the more you understand about how servers work, about where they actually exist, who actually owns them, who is in control of them, you have a better, more informed decision to make regarding your personal data, whether you want to keep it on the internet or you would rather not. If you understand where it goes, you can start to see where you can remove it if you don't want it out on the public web. Okay? So, this will make more sense as the week progresses. I wanted to show you what the week's theme is around. It's all going to be the basics of hosting, with the end goal of getting your project number 2s on the public internet so that people can see your work. Okay? That being said, that's what I need to share with you today. You have an exit task here that I'll have you get finished by the end of the period. I'm still going to keep your phones until the normal 5-minute time. But for your exit task, I want you to start thinking about what is your dream domain name. Domain names are the things that go in the URL so you can actually find your web pages. Like Canvas for Issaquah is issaquah.instructure.com. Okay? YouTube.com is a domain name. Facebook.com/whatever is a domain name. So I want to think about what is your dream domain name and how does it help your user understand the site's purpose. Okay, I don't really know what instructure means, but it has the word instruct in it, so I can guess it's probably for teaching. I know what Issaquah means because that's where we're at, and I know .com stands for commercial, so that means it's some type of commercial product. That's how I'm dissecting the domain name at the top. That helps me understand what the site does. A little bit of extra info on this second question. There's different types of domain extensions. Like .com we're familiar with, .org we're familiar with, .gov we're familiar with. There's a lot of new ones. .io is another one. bit.ly. .gg is another one. Those are all pieces of information that'll tell your user what your site is for. Okay? And again, because I haven't really taught you this yet, give this your best guess. But the dream domain name is your opinion, and it will just be the one that we'll try to claim later this week. Okay? All right, kind of a different shape of Monday. A lot of just information delivered to y'all because we need as much time as we can during the block days to get this working. So before I turn y'all over to study time, study hall, any additional questions about Project 2 or about stuff you missed last week? Are there any general questions about what we're doing this week, about hosting? Anything jumping out that you want me to answer right away? Are we good? Okay, awesome. Thank y'all. So I'll check for, I will check for completion of the exit task in about 20 minutes. then you can get your phones if you've done it. But for now, use this time to ask me questions about Project 2. Use this time to ask me questions about hosting. Use this time to study for your other periods, whatever you need to do. Okay? Thank y'all.